In Flutter, there is a saying that everything is a widget. And to go a little deeper, your whole application is basically just a widget tree. Now, this topic is so important to understand in Flutter, and I think the best way to showcase this is to go through an example. So this is a simple and common widget you might see within your applications. Now, this widget is composed of many widgets within it in a structured way called a widget tree. You can look through all of these and they're highlighted what each specific widget is. If we break this down to a widget tree, we can get more clarity on what's going on here. So we have a container, this whole thing. Then we have a row, which is one row right here, with 3 columns, this column, and this column. Each one has an icon and a container with a text in it. So this is a very simple widget tree using some very simple widgets. But of course, your whole application, this widget tree could get a lot more complicated. If you go to flutter.dev, go to documentation. Down here, you can see there's a widget index. This is nearly every widget that is bundled within Flutter. And if you scroll through all these widgets can be within your widget tree and actually build out a whole application for you. Now, let's go even deeper. But on the left here, you see this is the code that we use for the counter application. We're going to walk through the whole application and build out what the widget tree would look like for this demo application. So on our main file right here, we have this thing called run app. This is your entry point for every application. And the very first widget we see is my app. So this my app widget is at the very top of our widget tree. You notice these things called stateless widget and stateful widget. We don't need to worry about it here, but in the very next lesson, we cover what they are and why we need to use them. For this lesson, all we're going to need to look at is this build method. The build method returns the UI and all the build elements that build out the rest of the widget tree. In this build method, we find the very next widget within our widget tree, and it's called material app. Now, material app has some properties in it that we don't really need to worry about. It also has this home property, which shows us the very next widget within our widget tree. So it's the My Home Page widget. Now we can find the My Home Page widget right here. And like I said, we don't need to worry about all this stuff right now. We just need to worry about this build method. I will notice the next widget within our widget tree is the scaffold widget. And the scaffold widget actually breaks down into 3 other widgets: the app bar widget, the center widget, and the floating action button widget. Now I can go through each of these. You see the app bar has a text, the floating action button has an icon, and the center has a column widget. And then lastly, within that column widget, we have 2 text widgets. So here we go. This is our widget tree for that base application that we have built. Now, how do we know that I'm not lying about this whole widget tree concept? Well, we can go back to our code. And if you click Command P or Control P if you're on Windows, you can type in Open DevTools Widget Inspector page. There's a lesson covering what DevTools are, but for this section, we'll know that DevTools shows us the actual widget tree of our application. And you'll see, it starts with the My App widget, goes to Material App, goes to the Home Page, Scaffold. Scaffold has 3 widgets within it. The app bar has a text, floating action button has an icon. The center widget has a column with 2 texts in it, which is exactly what we had here. So this widget tree is one of the main concepts you need to know in Flutter. Make sure you have a good understanding of this before we move forward. Now next, in Flutter, you saw the list of a bunch of widgets, but all of them are based off of 2 widget principles. And that's stateless widget up here and stateful widget. And next lesson, we'll cover what these are.